So, hello and welcome everybody to our 55 plus Ontario Winter Games podcast series. I am very excited today to bring Maggie Reed, one of Huntsville's own Maggie Reed, who lives in our town and is involved with our local curling club, to our podcast today. She is also the ambassador for the curling discipline for the Winter Games, and she's competing as well in the 55 plus Winter Games. So, Maggie, thank you so much for joining us on this podcast.
Thank you for having me.
I know a little bit about you, and I know that you've been competing in curling or participating in curling for something around 60 years. So I'd like to go back a couple years, if you don't mind. And I want to find out what got you into curling. How were you exposed to it? And what was your early interactions with curling that made you decide it was going to be a lifelong sport for you?
My parents introduced me to curling. Both of them were curlers, and they had a youth program at the country club that they belonged to. So I started at the age of 9. Um,
Excellent.
and because curling is offered just about everywhere where they have an ice, the ability to make ice, I've been able to curl through my entire career. Um, because I traveled a lot. I worked up north and in a lot of northern areas. So I've curled in 7 different curling clubs over
Wow.
my 60 years.
Wow. So when you've curled in 7 different curling clubs, and I should say your career as a conservation officer, which I commend you for. So obviously living in the North and being in the North just fits with your lifestyle. When you get to travel around that much and get into that many clubs, you must have made a lot of great connections and solid lifelong friendships, I would think.
Yes, starting some of the longest relationships were from college.
Mhm.
Sir Sanford Fleming. Those have stayed the longest. That's almost 40 years.
Mhm.
Some of those acquaintances, and it's funny. You have work acquaintances, and then you have sport. But yeah, I have made lifelong acquaintances.
Amazing. Now, I do know that the reason you moved to Huntsville is that you suffered the loss of your partner and you decided to move to Huntsville. So I wonder, like, was your husband a curler at the time as well?
No, my husband, he wasn't really involved in sports at all. I continued all my sports, but
Yep.
no, he was an avid reader, and that was his main focus was reading. So he had an extensive library, and that was his recreational activity. But no, I continued skiing and fishing and
Yep.
also curling
That's
as well.
great. So this was your thing, and doing it in 7 communities and meeting all these people must have been a great social thing as you got to know people in your new communities, right?
Curling is the most wonderful social sport. It's a sport that's available to all ages, right from 7
Mhm.
until, and I've curled with people that are 94 years old and
Wow.
still curling. Yep.
Amazing.
And the camaraderie, because curling has built into it a certain respect code, a
Mhm.
code of respect and honor, and it just makes for a very, very friendly game. And it's a very social game because after curling, we all go up and have a refreshment, and the losers buy the winners buy the losers a drink, and it's a very comfortable, and
Yeah.
everybody seems to be welcome in curling.
Well, Maggie, I must say that I got into curling a little bit younger through the high school. Our gym teacher would walk us down to the curling club right around the corner from the high school. I came here in grade 11 from Cape Breton. I did not play when I was in Cape Breton. I don't know if there was a curling club nearby to our high school or anything else. So my exposure right away, I just thought it was fun. Like we had so much fun, and I was looking forward to doing it again. And then I heard there's leagues and everything else, so I ended up getting into curling a little bit. But I must say that thing you mentioned about the winners buying the drinks, I thought, well, where's the incentive to win? You know, the incentive is to lose because
Oh,
you get a
there's
free
lots of
drink.
incentive to win. It's a very, very competitive sport.
It is. It
People
is.
are people are anxious to score those wins.
Oh yeah, and I
Yeah.
say that as a joke, but because by no means would I throw a game to get the free beer.
No.
I would rather buy the beer, but it was but it hits to the purpose of in any competition, especially you guys competing in the games, you want to win, you want to be the best. But I
It's
find my time at the curling club, it's winning is number one or whatever else, but it's the social side of it and the respect side that you mentioned is paramount from what I've seen.
Huntsville is, to me, having been through many clubs, is very unique. It's a very member-driven club,
Mhm.
and most of the work, most of the fundraising, everything is basically done by the members. So that's unique to a lot of clubs. There's a lot more clubs that have a lot of paid staff,
Mhm.
but Huntsville is unique in that the members are so involved. We're really lucky. It's a wonderful club and it's growing,
Mhm.
which is speaks volumes to the people who are organizing. They have Learn to Curl. They're running their second Learn to Curl. This season just started, I think, last week. And then they have skills development. So, if you learn to curl and you want to continue, there's all these available courses. And of course, there's the 125th anniversary coming up in
Mhm.
January,
Yeah.
which is also going to expose a whole bunch of people to the sport of curling. And when I'm glad that I was suggested for an ambassador, because I try to have that conversation wherever I can
Mhm.
about encouraging people, especially newcomers to Huntsville,
Mhm.
because it's an opportunity to meet people. Number one, in a sport that's very, very welcoming,
Mhm.
and also families can get involved, right you know from the youngest to the oldest in the family. And so it's a really good opportunity for people to be active and also social.
Well, I love that message because what I will say, and I do want to emphasize what you're talking about the club. I've got a lot of experience with the local club. Ron and his team at the club, as well as all the members, the amount of time they put into making this club successful should be applauded every day. The amount of like what they've done recently with the renovations, one of the main factors of which was to make it accessible for all with the new
Mhm.
elevator and everything else. I mean, the amount of money you guys had to raise was, I think it was over $1 million, and you did it. It's mind blowing. I'm on council, and most often groups might come to the table because they want to improve their facilities, and they're looking for money sometimes, and rightfully so at times. That's not what the curling club was looking for. It was more of support on the building permits and stuff. Well, they said, we got this. We've got grants. We've got access to the municipal accommodation tax funding that they gave them. And what you created is you took a building that's quite old and made it quite sharp and made it accessible. I need to commend the club for that. It's unbelievable.
Absolutely. It's been a journey, and the people that drove that change or need to be absolutely commended.
Hmm.
So it's accessible entrance, and now they have accessible to all areas of the club, which is absolutely wonderful. Hopefully, it will open up stick curling for wheelchair
Yeah.
athletes, and so there's looking to be a new future
Yeah. I
with
love it.
the club. Yep.
I love that. So progressive. And you talk about stick curling. I know that you're aware of this, and I want you to speak to a bit the fact that the stick for stick curling was invented by someone right here in Huntsville, was it not?
It was. It was a gentleman. His wife was a curler,
Mhm.
and she was no longer able to get down into the hack. So he designed a pusher for the rocks, and that was the beginning of the stick that we have currently today. So, and boy, it's opened up curling to be accessible much longer
Mhm.
for senior athletes like myself to continue curling, which is absolutely fantastic. I've suffered some knee and back injuries in my job, of course, and
Mhm.
for me to be able to adapt
Mhm.
has been wonderful. So I'm a stick curler.
Well, and good for you because you know what? I'm just over 50 and I'm experiencing some injuries and whatnot as I age. So I can't imagine getting to an age and having injuries be the reason you have to give up something you love.
That's right.
So because of this, you don't. You can keep participating
Hmm.
and it's so great. And also it takes away some barriers to new people that may want to get involved that maybe they can't get down into the hack because of some restrictions. So,
Yep,
so,
absolutely. It's a wonderful adaptive sport.
mhm. And it's still
It's so
competitive.
much fun.
It is still competitive, even with
It
stick
is
curling.
competitive,
Yeah,
absolutely.
it
Uh,
is. I've seen it.
I think there is a fallacy when watching curling that it's not a physical sport, but
Oh, it is.
go out and do it. It's a very physical sport.
Yeah, well,
Absolutely.
do a day or do a kind of a bonspiel, and then see how your body feels the next day,
Yes, exactly.
and you'll know that you
Yes.
were using muscles for sure.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
it is
I
great.
I I skip primarily because I have difficulty sweeping over the distance. So I don't get as much exercise as I perhaps could if I was in a different position. But I've earned my skip position, so I'm going to keep it.
Yes, and you should. And that's the great thing about a curling team. You have four people, and you can put people into different roles based on what they can give, and you can create a pretty cool team. I love it.
Absolutely, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And I've honestly, I've been a massive fan of curling my entire life. I love watching Vic Router and the team on TSN when they're doing the Scotties and the Brier, and even the provincial tournaments that come up. It's so exciting to watch. We've seen some massive moments in curling. And so I want to ask you about, like we talked about those big events. We're putting on a big event here in Huntsville, February 3rd to the 5th, the 55 plus Ontario Winter Games. And I want to ask you, when you're speaking to the public about people that are on the fence, it is an open qualification, so you don't have to go to a 3-day qualifier. Those teams that are on the fence of wanting to come, what's your message to them? Why should they come up and participate in our Winter Games?
Well, this is my third Winter Games, by the
Mhm.
way,
Okay.
and two of the previous ones were also Huntsville. So
Okay.
Huntsville's not new to
No.
the Winter Games. So it's an absolutely gorgeous location, and it, the pomp and ceremony just in the uh, opening event and throughout the games, the competition is serious competition.
Mhm.
It's not minimized. It's really so you get a feeling that you're doing something that is actually worthwhile.
Mhm.
And
Absolutely.
from my perspective as a senior, I came from the Southwest, and they had an incredibly active senior games program, summer and winter, and the idea that so many people were involved. So there were all the senior centers in all the small communities sponsored events. And those events could have just been a day of cards or
Mhm.
whatever, but it involved all of the seniors group. So a huge range of people got an opportunity to be exposed to this wonderful, Ontario Senior Games.
Wow.
And that in itself, some of those would go on to provincial competitions, and others were just local events that were sponsored for the day. It's a wonderful opportunity to see competition, to feel pride in what you do,
Mhm.
and also to encourage you to keep going, to stay active, to be involved. And it makes you feel vital. It
Yeah.
makes you feel as though you have something to contribute when you're involved in a sport.
Well, and what I am talking to other competitors in other sports, it's not just the games, the lead up. You're going to be training, you're going to be competing to get yourself ready. And as people age, as all of us age, we talk about healthy living. It's the mantra of this entire games and what we're trying to promote. So the message you're sending out is exactly in line with what we're trying to promote as the games. Getting involved, getting social, getting out there, but also staying healthy through sport. And you can do that up to any age that you want. And I love that. And don't forget, I mean, this is the 55 plus Ontario Winter Games, and that is the best 55 plus athletes in the province coming to Huntsville to compete. So if you want to be a spectator, I've spectated some curling things when you're not on the ice, you're up in the upper area, maybe having a beer or a soda and watching. People can come and watch this, and your past experience, I would imagine there are some people up in the upper area watching these games.
It's wonderful having them cheer you on, especially
Mm,
when you're the last person on the ice throwing the
yeah,
last rock
yeah.
and you make it.
right? Yeah. And they get they acknowledge that you just made a big shot. And
Oh, yeah, you hear the stomping down on the ice.
yeah, so
Yeah,
that's great. So for
it's
those
fun.
thinking about, we're trying to get as many participants as possible, but we'd love to see as many spectators as possible as well. So if anybody's listening to this and they're thinking, hey, I'm might be able to get up to Huntsville that time of year, come stay at one of our great hotels or resorts, come out and see Maggie and her friends compete at the top level and have some fun. Now, speaking of try to promote Huntsville, you are one of us now. You do live here, but for those coming from out of town, uh, what would you say? Why come to Huntsville in the middle of February for this sporting event?
Oh, well, winter in Huntsville is almost as pretty as summer in
Mhm.
Huntsville. It has an absolutely gorgeous downtown right now. So the light spectacular, the spectacle, the um, what's happening out at Sandhill is also beautiful.
Mhm.
But just the idea, the snow is so crisp, and
Yeah.
it's a very Christmas-like atmosphere
Mhm.
all the time in Huntsville. The snow here is wonderful.
Yeah.
The waterways that crisscross through the town
Mhm.
make it an absolutely gorgeous location. And there are just tons and tons of venues where you can spend your time and your money enjoying good food. What impressed me is that has incredible arts and music.
Yes.
It's just a vital, wonderfully happy town.
Yeah.
And I'm so lucky to have moved here. I'm just thrilled to be here and to be a resident of Huntsville. It's just a wonderful place to live. People are incredibly nice and very kind.
Well, and that's I know from being involved with local tourism efforts over the years and whatnot, I know that people will come to an event such as the Ironman or an event like this, and that's their first exposure to our town. And then they decide they want to live here and be a part of our community. So because they have the experience you're talking about. And some would say it's not just as nice as the summer, some would say it's more beautiful in the winter, depending on what you're looking for, right?
It depends
So
on whether you can handle the cold.
yes, absolutely. Today was pretty chilly when we're starting to warm up our cars, but then you drive around and you see the snow on the ground and the new lighting you talked about. Rachel Hunt from the BIA drove that initiative, and the Forest of Light out of Sandhill. We're becoming the little town of lights now, and and it's amazing. We get feedback on stuff we do on council. Some of it's good and bad, but this lighting thing that some town staff and the BIA got involved in, it's unanimously well received. Everybody is loving it. It lights up our downtown, and you just smile when you come through our downtown now. And I'm so excited that we've done that.
I have to come through there every time I go
Mhm.
curling in the evening, so it's a
Mhm.
wonderful opportunity. I I went to the Santa Claus parade, and I can honestly say I have never had more fun at a parade, any parade ever,
Yeah,
as that one. It was so much fun. It was a long parade. It was cold,
yeah.
and everybody just seemed incredibly happy, and it was a wonderful, wonderful event. Huntsville is spectacular. They're firing on all cylinders all the time,
Well,
which is
and you know
great.
what? I must say that our games organizing team, including our general manager Leslie, who was on the call there earlier, they're doing an unbelievable job. These games are going to be amazing. The out of competition stuff that's being organized right now is next level. So if anyone's listening and you want to come up and you don't even know an athlete in the competition, you want an excuse to get away because you live down south and there's no snow and it's kind of drab right now. Come hang out with us. We'll take care of you. You can go see Maggie and her team curl. You can go downtown to one of our great restaurants. You might be able to take in some music. You can check out our lights. We're ready for you. We're ready to host you for sure. So, Maggie, I know that ironically you need to get off to the curling rink.
I
So,
do.
which is great. So, I'm going to say thank you so much for your time, your help with these games as ambassador, and thank you for being so passionate about such a wonderful sport. And thank you for coming on this podcast.
Thank you for the opportunity to share my sport.